Savita Pinto, lecturer of Polymer Technology. On behalf of Department of Colgate and Technical Education, I am presenting the course Physical Chemistry. Now, before starting the session 2, so in the previous session, we learned about the laws of chemical combination as well as the gas laws. So, in the laws of chemical combination, we studied the different laws, that is law of conservation of mass, law of definite proportions, law of multiple proportions, law of reciprocal proportion, etc. So in the gas laws, we studied the different gas laws, that is Boyle's law. Boyle's law means at constant temperature, volume is inversely proportional to pressure. Charles' law means at constant pressure, volume is directly proportional to temperature. And in other laws, that is Avogadro law and Graham's diffusion law. So there are different types of the laws we studied. So that is the gas laws we studied in the last session. So in this session, we are going to study about the ideal gases and real gases. So first one, that is ideal gases and real gases. Second one, we have to study about the kinetic theory of gases. Next, it is van der Waals equation. Next, about the percentage composition. Next, about the empirical and molecular formula, etc. So what is meant by ideal gas and real gases? So I told that in the previous session we studied about the different gas laws, that is mainly Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, etc. So let's see what is meant by ideal gas and real gases. Ideal gases means the gas which obeys all the gas laws is called as a ideal gases. That means mainly that is Boyle's law, Charles' law and Gay-Lussac's law as well as a Avogadro's law. If the gases obeys above these laws, then that gas is called as a ideal gases. Now, then what is meant by real gases? The real gases means the gas which does not obey all the gas laws. So the gas which does not obey all the gas laws, Charles' law as well as Boyle's law, Gay-Lussac's law, if it does not obey that laws, then it is called as a real gases. Now we can give the expression for the ideal gases. So if the ideal gas obeys all the gas law, then the expression for the ideal gas become PV is equal to nRT. Here PV means pressure, volume means V, and N means number of moles, R means ideal gas constant, T means temperature. Then this is the equation for ideal gas. So it is also called as a ideal gas equation. This is very important, that is PV is equal to nRT is called as a ideal gas equation. So for real gases we can tell that PV does not equal to nRT. Okay, if the PV that is equal to nRT, then it is called as a ideal gas equation. This is the difference between the ideal gas and real gases. What the gases are exist that are real gases. Okay, the ideal gases only that is imaginary. We can imagine the ideal gases, but they are not exist. So real gases, what they are exist, that gases are called as a real gases. Now, so under this gas, that is ideal gas as well as real gas, we have to study one theory that is called as a kinetic theory of gases. Let's see the postulates of kinetic theories of gases one by one. So there are 7 postulates are there. So let's see one by one. So first postulate, that is the gases consist of large number of identical particles. So gases is not made up of only 1 or 2 particles. It is made up of many number of identical particles. That particles we may call it as molecules or atoms. Particles may be molecules or atoms, but the gases consist of large number of identical particles. The second postulate is the actual volume of the molecule is negligible. So according to kinetic theory, what is the volume of the molecule is negligible in comparison to the empty spaces between them. So here if you compare the spaces between them, empty spaces between the molecules, that actual volume of the molecule is negligible. Okay, if you compare the space between the molecules, the volume become negligible. This is the second postulate of kinetic theory of gases. Third is there is no force of attraction between the particles of gas at ordinary temperature and pressure. So kinetic theory says that there is no force of attraction between the particles. That means the particles are not active. If there is attraction, then it is become what? They will be very active. So there is no force of attraction between the particles of a gas at ordinary temperature and pressure. That means they are stable. At ordinary temperature and pressure, there is no force of attraction between the particles. Next, fourth one, the particles of gas are always in constant and random motion. So these particles of gases are always in constant and in random motion. They are moving, okay, but in a constant and in a random motion. So fifth one, the pressure exerted is by the gas as a result of collision of the particles with the wall of the container. So when the pressure will be exerted according to kinetic theory of gases, that is when the pressure is exerted only, there is a collision of particles. The particles will collide with the container, walls of the container, then only the pressure will be exert or exist. Okay, otherwise there is no pressure. So pressure is exerted with the gases as a result of there is a collision of particles with the walls of the container. Okay. Sixth one, the collision of gas molecules are perfectly elastic. That means if the molecule will be collide, then at the same rate they will be come back. So the collision of gases molecules are perfectly elastic. Seventh one, average kinetic energy of the gas molecule is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. Average kinetic energy of the gas is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. So what the energy of the gas molecule is there, so it is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. So these are the 7 postulates of the kinetic theory of gases. So first one, gas consists of large number of identical particles. That particles may molecules or atoms. Second one, the actual volume of the molecule is negligible in comparison to the empty spaces between them. If you compare the empty spaces between the molecule, then that the volume of the molecule is negligible. Third one, there is no force of attraction between the particle of gas at ordinary temperature and pressure. So at ordinary temperature and pressure, there is no force of attraction between the particles of a gas. Fourth one, particles of a gas are always in a constant and random motion. They are always moving in a constant and random motion. Fifth one, pressure is exerted by the gas as a result of collision of the particles with the wall of the container. When there is a collision of the particles with the wall of the container, then only the pressure will be exerted. Sixth one, the collision of gas molecules are perfectly elastic. The collision between the gas molecules are perfectly elastic. Seventh one, average kinetic energy of the gas molecules is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. So kinetic energy of the gas molecule is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. So these are the very important postulates of the kinetic theory of the gases. Now let's see about the deviation of ideal behavior from real gases. Deviation means how the real gases are little different or differ from the ideal gases. Okay, I told that ideal gases are not same as a real gases. So there should be deviation. So what about the deviation of the ideal behavior from real gases? Now this can be understood or understand by the wrong assumption that is made in kinetic theory of gases. So here it is due to wrong assumption made in kinetic theory of gases. So which are the wrong assumption that is made in kinetic theory of gases about the gases? So they are, there is no force of attraction between the gas molecules. So this is according to deviation of ideal behavior from real gases. This is a wrong assumption. There is a force of attraction between the gas molecules. Okay, but in kinetic theory of gases, they says that there is no force of attraction between the gas molecules, but it is a wrong assumption. Second one, the volume of the gas molecule is negligible when compared to the volume of the gas. This is also one of the wrong assumptions. So these are the deviations of ideal behavior from the real gases. So real gases, in the real gases there is a force of attraction between the gas molecules, as well as there is a volume of for the gas molecules. Each molecule there is a volume. It is not negligible in case of real gases. Now if first assumption is correct, there is a two assumption we discussed which are the wrong assumption made in kinetic theory of gases. Now if first assumption is correct, then what will be happen? Gas will never liquefy, but actually the gas will be cooled and compressed. We can cooled and the compress. The gas can be cooled and compressed. So it says that there is a first assumption is wrong. Okay, so if first assumption is correct, what will happen? The gas may never liquefy and gas may not cooled, but it is a wrong assumption. So we can understand by that the gas can be liquefied and be cooled and compressed. Okay, so due to this one we can understand that that is the assumption made in kinetic theory of gases is wrong. Second one, second assumption is true. If it in case it is true, that is true when it is true. It is true only when volume of a gas is large. If the volume of the gas is large, then it is a what? The volume of the molecule is small and the pressure is very low. So it is second assumption is true only in the case that is when volume of the gas is large and pressure is low. If the pressure is low and volume of the gas is large, then that we can say that second assumption may correct or true. But here if pressure is very high and volume of the gas is very low, and hence volume of the molecule is cannot be neglected. So here the pressure of the gas, if the pressure of the gas is high, then volume of the gas is very low, then we cannot neglect the volume of the molecule also. Okay, so these are the two deviations from the ideal behavior of real gases. Okay, so first it is, that is, we cannot say that there is no force of attraction between the gas molecules. We can say that there is a force of attraction between the gas molecules. And in the real gases, there is a volume of the gas molecules. There is a volume for the gas molecules when compared to the volume of the gases. So these are the deviation of ideal behavior from real gases. This is a very important two assumptions. Next is a very important equation that is for gases. This equation is Van der Waals equation for n mole of gas. So for n mole of gas, we can write the equation as P plus A n square divided by V square into V minus NB is equal to nRT. So for n mole of gas, we can write the Van der Waals equation as P plus A n square divided by V square into V minus NB is equal to nRT. Now can you tell me the terms now? Yes, P is a pressure, A and B are the constant, V is the volume of gas, R is the ideal gas constant, T is the temperature, and N is the number of moles of gas, N number of mole of gas. Now similarly, we can write, by referring this equation, we can write the equation for 1 mole of gas, that is P plus A. Here for 1 mole of gas, N is equal to 1. So in place of N, we can write N is equal to 1. So P plus A divided by V square into V minus B is equal to nRT. So P plus A divided by V into V minus B is equal to RT. This is the Van der Waals equation for 1 mole of gas. It's a very important equation. It is Van der Waals equation for n mole of gas. Now there is a relationship between vapor density and molecular weight. So vapor density is equal to molecular weight divided by 2. So vapor density is equal to molecular weight divided by 2. It is a relationship between vapor density and molecular weight. So in this we studied about the ideal gas, real gases, and the kinetic theory of gases, and the deviation of ideal behavior from real gases. Now next it is a Van der Waals equation for n mole of gas as well as a 1 mole of gas, as well as a relationship between vapor density as well as a molecular weight. That is vapor density is equal to molecular weight divided by 2. Next it is percentage composition. Now what is percentage composition? Percentage composition means it is defined as percentage of a particular element present in a compound. Percentage of a particular element present in a compound. Now for example, if you take a water. So water, there is a 2 types of elements, hydrogen as well as a oxygen. Now how much percentage of oxygen is there? How much percentage of the hydrogen is there? Okay, calculating the particular percentage of a particular element is called as a percentage composition. Now there is an equation for calculating percentage composition. The percentage composition is equal to mass of that element in a compound is equal to into 100 divided by molar mass of the compound. So percentage composition is equal to mass of that element in a compound divided by molar mass of the compound into 100. So it is the expression or the equation to calculate the percentage composition. Now let us discuss about the problems. So here we have to calculate the percentage of hydrogen and oxygen in water. So which is a compound here? Water is a compound. So which are the element present in water? Hydrogen as well as oxygen. Now you know about the which one? Equation, that is percentage composition is equal to mass of the element in a compound divided by molar mass of the compound into 100. So you know to calculate the molar mass. Molar mass means what? That is a mass of the compound here. That is atomic mass of the hydrogen, it is a 1, and atomic mass of the oxygen, it is a 16. Okay, let's see. So percentage composition of hydrogen, that is first you have to calculate the hydrogen. What is the mass of the hydrogen? How many are there? 1. So what is atomic mass of the hydrogen? 1. So how many hydrogens are there? 2. So 1 into 2 divided by how? 18 it is. That is 2 plus 16. 16 it is the mass of the oxygen. So 2 plus 16 it is a 18. So 1 into 2 divided by 18 into 100, that is 11.1% is there. Hydrogen is there in the water. Similarly about the percentage composition of the oxygen. So how many oxygen is there? 1. What is atomic mass of the oxygen? 16. Divided, what is the molar mass of the water? 18 into 100. So answer is 88.8%. So 88.8% oxygen is present in the water. This is about the calculation of the percentage of the hydrogen as well as oxygen in water. So let's discuss about the next problem. Problem 2. That is, you have to calculate the percentage of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in C6H12O6. What is, which compound it is? Glucose. C6H12O6 is a glucose. Now let's see the percentage composition of hydrogen here. So how many hydrogens are there? 12. So what is atomic mass of hydrogen? 1. 1 into 12 divided by, so you have to calculating the molar mass. How you can calculate? 6 into 12, atomic mass of carbon is 12. So how many carbon are there? 6. 6 into 12 plus 12 into 1, atomic mass of hydrogen is 1, plus 6 into atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So together it is a 180. So molar mass of glucose, it is a 180 into 100 because we want it in percentage. So answer is 6.6%. So how much percent is present in glucose? How much percentage of hydrogen is present in glucose? 6.6%. Similarly, we have to calculate the percentage composition of oxygen. As I told, how many oxygens are there? 6 oxygen into 16 divided by 180 into 100. So it is a 88.8% is there. Similarly, percentage composition of carbon, that is 12. Atomic mass is 12 into how many carbon is there? 6 carbon divided by molar mass is 180. That is answer is 40. Next, about the empirical formula and molecular formula. So empirical formula means this formula represents the simplest whole number ratio of various atoms present in a compound. So it will tell that just number of the elements or the atoms present in a compound, not exactly. Simplest whole number ratio of various atoms present in a compound. Now what is molecular formula then? Molecular formula means it shows the exact number. So see the difference between empirical formula as well as a molecular formula. So molecular formula means it is a exact number of different types of atoms. Empirical formula means it is a simplest whole number. Okay, it is a not exact number, it is give just number, whole number of the atoms in a compound. Now let's discuss about the problem of empirical and molecular formula. Now a compound containing 4.07% of hydrogen, 24.07% of carbon, 71.65% of chloride. So there is given the molecular mass or the molar mass of compound is 98.96 gram. Now you don't know which compound it is. You have to calculate the formula, that is both formula, empirical and molecular formula of a compound. Okay, this is important. So percentage is given, that is in this compound 4.07% of hydrogen, 24.07% of carbon, 71.65% of chloride. Okay, so percentage is given, but the molecular formula of the compound is not given here. So element which is present in compound are carbon, hydrogen and chloride. So what is the percentage? 24.27%, 4.07%, as well as the chloride is 71.65%. So what is atomic mass of carbon? 12. Atomic mass of hydrogen it is a 1. Atomic mass of chloride it is a 35.5%. Then 5 atomic mass is 35.5. Then here see percentage 24, 4.07, 71.65. Atomic mass it is a 12, 1, 35.5. Okay. Now how to calculate number of moles? Now we have to convert this percentage into gram. That is 24.27 gram divided by 12. That is 24.27 divided by 12. It will give 2.02. 4.07 divided by 1, that is gives rise 4.07. Similarly 71.65 divided by 35.5, that is 2.02. So this is the number of moles. Number of moles is calculated by this divided by atomic mass. Okay, 24.27 divided by 12, that is 22.02. 4.07 divided by 1, that is 4.07. 71.65 divided by 35.5, that is 2.02. Now the molar ratio. So molar ratio, before calculating molar ratio, here you have to take the least number of moles. That is here in two cases it is same, 2.02, 2.02. So you can take 2.02. So you have to divide number of moles by the least number of moles. That is 2.02 divided by 2.02, 1. Here similarly 4.07 divided by which one? 2.02. That will almost you will get 2. It is approximately you will get 2. Here 2.02 divided by 2.02, that is also 1. Understood? That is 2.02, it is the least number of moles you have to take, and number of moles is divided by the least number of moles. That will give 1 to 1. So simple whole ratio, simple whole number ratio, that is 1 to 1. Okay, 1 to 1. So what is the empirical formula? You can say by referring simple whole number ratio. Carbon is how much? How many carbons are there? 1. hydrogen is 2, chloride is L. Okay, chlorine is L, is 1. So 1, 2, 1. Carbon 1, hydrogen 1, chloride it is a 1. So empirical formula you can write it as a C1H12Cl1. It is the simplest whole number ratio, not it is a molecular formula, it is a simple whole number ratio, that means empirical formula. This is not the exact number of the compound, it is a just simple whole number ratio. Now how to calculate empirical formula mass? Similar as in the case of molar mass also, same way we have to calculate the empirical formula mass. Here 1, carbon is 1, atomic mass of carbon is 12, plus how many hydrogens are there? 2, atomic mass of hydrogen into 1, plus how many chloride are there? 1 into 35.5, atomic mass of the chloride is 35.5. So we will get 48.5%. So empirical formula mass is 48.5%. So to calculate molecular formula, how you can calculate? N is equal to molecular mass divided by empirical formula mass. Here we will get number of moles. We don't know how many number of moles. That is N is equal to molecular mass divided by empirical formula mass. So molecular mass is given in the question, that is 98.96. Empirical formula mass is 48.5. So N is 2. Here N is equal to 2. Now how to calculate molecular formula? Molecular formula is equal to N into empirical formula. So empirical formula it is a C1H12H2Cl1. So 2 into C1H2Cl1. So molecular formula is C2H4Cl2. This is the molecular formula of the compound. So if you calculate the molar mass or molecular mass of this compound, you should get 98.96. Then your answer is correct. So molecular formula is C2H4Cl2. So this is how to calculate the molecular formula as well as a empirical formula. This is very important problem. Okay. So in this way you have to calculate the empirical formula as well as a molecular formula. So choose the correct answer for the above question. So gas which obeys all the gas laws is called as a real gas, ideal gas, option C non-ideal gas, natural gas. So it is a ideal gas. Correct answer is ideal gas. Second one, dash is called as a ideal gas equation. PV is equal to nRT, R is equal to PVT, VT is equal to PR, PR is equal to VT. So PV is equal to nRT. It is called as a ideal gas equation. Next, molecular mass of CH4. Told that to calculate how to calculate molecular mass. We should know the atomic mass of both element, carbon and hydrogen. So atomic mass of carbon is how much? It is a 12. So 1 into 12 plus how many hydrogens are there? 4. 4 into 1. So 12 plus 4. It is a 16. Answer is 16. Okay. Percentage composition of oxygen in water. So how much you should calculate that percentage composition of oxygen in water, that is 88.8%. Relationship between vapor density and molecular weight, that is vapor density is equal to 2 by molecular weight is equal to 2 by vapor density is equal to molecular weight divided by 2, vapor density is equal to molecular weight. So which one is the correct answer? Option C, it is the correct answer. Vapor density is equal to molecular weight divided by 2. Thank you.